Most people don't notice the moment their life quietly changes direction. Not because it was dramatic, not because something obvious happened, but because nothing happened. It just felt like another normal day. You woke up at the same time. You followed the same routine. You moved through the same spaces, saw the same faces, repeated the same thoughts. And nothing inside you reacted. That was the part most people never questioned, because discomfort usually announces itself. It demands attention. It interrupts the illusion of stability. But quiet drift doesn't. Quiet drift feels safe. It feels familiar. It feels reasonable. And that's why it stays unnoticed. People rarely make one big decision that defines their future. It's usually smaller than that. It's choosing not to act on something that once mattered, not because you decided it didn't matter anymore, but because you assumed there would always be more time to think about it, more time to prepare, more time to become someone capable of handling it. So you delayed, not aggressively, not intentionally, just gradually. And over time, delay stopped feeling like delay. It started feeling like identity. It became part of how you saw yourself. Someone who was thinking, someone who was waiting for the right moment, someone who would act eventually. There's a strange comfort in believing nothing is urgent, because urgency creates responsibility, and responsibility creates pressure. But without urgency, nothing demands change. Without urgency, nothing forces movement. So days remain identical. Weeks pass quietly. Months blur into routines that feel permanent, even when they were never meant to be. And eventually, the absence of movement becomes invisible. You don't notice what's missing. You only notice what's present. And what's present feels normal, even if it isn't what you once imagined. People don't always choose comfort because it feels good. Sometimes they choose it because it feels predictable. Predictability removes uncertainty, and uncertainty requires energy. It requires attention. It requires confronting the possibility that something might not work. So people preserve stability, not because it fulfills them, but because it protects them from confronting the unknown. And slowly, stability becomes the goal itself. Not growth, not transformation, just stability, just continuity, just maintaining what already exists. This is how avoidance operates. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly. It disguises itself as patience, as realism, as maturity. It convinces you that waiting is intelligent, that hesitation is thoughtful, that delay is responsible. But beneath those explanations, something else is happening. You're protecting yourself from discomfort, not physical discomfort, psychological discomfort. The discomfort of confronting uncertainty, the discomfort of risking failure, the discomfort of seeing yourself clearly. So you preserve the current version of yourself, even if it isn't the version you once believed you would become. Over time, this pattern reinforces itself, because nothing interrupts it. There's no alarm, no signal, no clear moment when everything changes. Just repetition, repeated days, repeated thoughts, repeated behaviors, until repetition becomes identity, and identity becomes difficult to question, because questioning identity creates instability. It creates uncertainty about who you are, and uncertainty feels threatening, even when certainty isn't fulfilling. Years can pass this way, not dramatically, not painfully, just quietly. You remain functional. You remain capable, you remain stable, but something inside you becomes less visible. Not gone, just less present. less active, less demanding, because demands require action, and action disrupts stability. So stability continues, unchallenged, uninterrupted, unnoticed. Most people assume change will feel obvious when it happens.
They assume they'll feel different, more motivated, more ready, more certain. But that isn't always how it works. Sometimes nothing feels different. Sometimes awareness arrives quietly, without emotion, without urgency, just clarity. A simple realization that something has been repeating for longer than expected, and that realization doesn't create immediate change. It just creates awareness. Awareness of time, awareness of patterns, awareness of how easily continuity can replace intention. There's no dramatic moment where everything stops. No clear boundary between who you were and who you became. Just gradual alignment with whatever you repeatedly allowed. Because repetition doesn't require permission. It only requires absence of interruption. And interruption requires awareness. Not force, not pressure, just awareness. Awareness of what is happening, and awareness of what isn't. Time doesn't announce itself while it's passing. It doesn't ask if you're ready. It doesn't confirm if you're satisfied. It continues, quietly, independently, indifferently. And most people assume they'll notice when something important changes. But often, the most important changes happen without sensation, without warning, without urgency, just quiet continuation. Until one day, continuation becomes reality, and reality feels permanent. Even though it was built gradually, quietly, without resistance. There isn't always a dramatic realization at the end of this pattern. Sometimes there's just silence. Just the quiet recognition that nothing forced this direction. Nothing demanded it. Nothing insisted on it. It simply continued because nothing interrupted it. And awareness, when it finally appears, doesn't demand anything. It just exists, quietly, waiting to be acknowledged. Not urgently, not aggressively, just present, like it always was.